At the end of the day, you are a fraud. And needlessly, you're not a stupid man, you're just an insecure one. Dr. James White, if you want a doctorate, go earn one. On the other hand, while I can say he's not a complete charlatan, there is a charlatan element. There's something fundamentally wrong with somebody who pretends to have valid doctorates. Dr. Benny Hinn, Dr. Rodney Howard Brown, these things are nonsense. They're degrees that are either honorary or they're awarded by a non-accredited institution. This pseudo-academic fraud, these people are not genuinely scholars. If they don't have a doctorate, why would they say they do? Now, from my own background, and I'm very straight about it, my background was in science, not theology. I didn't go to Bible college and seminary until I was older, which was in England and at Cambridge University in Great Britain, and at London Bible College, London School of Theology. Afterwards, I did my postgraduate research at Cambridge, at Tyndale House, and at London School of Theology for an MPhil, which I decided to convert instead of taking the MPhil into a doctorate. I did the academic research in Britain and at Cambridge and at London School of Theology under Dr. Conrad Gemp at that time. Then I was going to complete the missiological portion at Fuller Seminary under Dr. Arthur Glasser when I had a very serious accident that's left me somewhat disabled in 1996 when my daughter and myself were seriously injured. I had to withdraw from the doctorate program at Fuller at that particular time. But I believe it was God's providence. Fuller has gone so far off since the days of Dr. McGavran, Donald McGavran, under people like Peter Wagner and the unfortunate influences of the Vineyard Movement and other things, that I wouldn't want a doctorate or anything else from Fuller, of which Mr. White is a graduate. But it's not where he got his PhD or his THD either. He has 2 false doctorates. Now, this makes him a phony. It makes him look like a charlatan. It makes him look like a pseudo-academic fraud, a make-believe scholar. You either have the doctorate or you don't. My background was in science. I switched to theology after becoming a Christian. But I never finished my doctorate due to an accident and due to divine providence. I don't believe God wanted me to be in Fuller. Our ministry grew and I didn't have time to finish it, and hence I do not have a doctorate. But I've had many people, institutions offering me one based on my postgraduate education and research. I could easily get a phony doctorate and put it on the wall and call myself doctor. But it's dishonest. Christians should not behave that way. When I see somebody doing what he did, and there's others like it, Rodney Brown does it, Kenneth Copeland does it, Thomas Ice does it, it is dishonest. It's charlatanism. It reveals an insecurity. It reveals some kind of an intellectual pride and a sense of inferiority, that they have to get a phony degree from a non-accredited institution. If a doctorate is not awarded by an accredited institution, it is essentially useless. It's make-believe. They're buying titles. It's crazy. Yet he poses himself as this great learned scholar when he has 2 false doctorates. Something is wrong with this guy, not just as an academic or as an apologist, but he's got some kind of a problem in his own life, his own walk with the Lord, when he has to resort to this kind of dishonesty and deception, misrepresenting himself as having a scholarly credential that he does not have. Now, I regret in some ways not having finished my own doctorate, but it was for medical reasons and it was for providential reasons. It never happened. If God wanted it to, it would have. I'm good with that. No, I'm not an academic, but I am academically trained. I'm not a scholar, but I am scholarly. I will put my academic education up against anyone's, including James White's, any day. He belittles certain things, beginning with my name. Now notice, before dealing with the issue, he takes the ad hominem approach. James, Jacob, they mean the same thing. Well, due to the Jacobites in the King James Bible, yes, Jacobus from Latin was mistranslated as James. Why is that? I was named after my father's grandfather, who was Jacob. They came to the United States. They anglicized it to James. I immigrated to Israel. It goes back to Jacob or Yaakov. My family is bilingual. Live in Israel, live in England, live in America. Hence, I have legal documents saying my name is Jacob, and I have legal ID saying my name is James. To apply for an American passport as an expatriate and to have obtained British residency and right of abode in Great Britain, I have to show all names that I use legally, James Jacob. That is my legal name for legal reasons because of my situation of having legal identification from two countries that I had to present both to the American State Department and to the British Home Office. That's my name. I don't know why he makes a joke of it. However, he's wrong. It's not like Johann and Johannes and John mean the same. James is simply the way that the Jacobites mistranslated Jacob. So he's wrong. He also made fun of my Arabic. Well, my Arabic is not fluent. Hallelujah, it's pretty good. If you go on our website, Questions for Our Arab Friends, you'll hear the Arabic version of me presenting the gospel, asking questions to Muslims in Arabic. No, my Arabic is not absolutely fluent, but it's not bad for a non-Arab. I'd like to hear his Arabic. It's not inshallah, that's pronunciation. Two separate words in Arabic. Inja, Allah. Inja, Allah. They are two separate words, Mr. White. Don't misrepresent yourself as having an expertise in Arabic when you don't.
When I talk to a Muslim and I let them know that I've read the Quran multiple times, that I've actually translated portions of the Quran from Arabic, and that I have read Sahih Bukhari, almost finished with Sahih Muslim, the Muwatta of Malik, all the Hadith Qudsi, at that point their jaws drop open because most of them have never done anything even close to that. Most of their imams have not done that much reading. And so they're just like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me.
Is every cab ride I have taken recently has had a Muslim cabbie. Mm-hmm. And we have had fascinating conversations because I am able to narrate the Islamic Hadith. And they've never met a Christian that could narrate to them the way their imams narrate to them from the Hadith. Talk about buying an opportunity to really open a door.
You're kidding me.
I'd like to hear your Arabic. Go on our website to the evangelistic clip, and you can hear mine. I'd like to hear your Greek. You didn't look at the original meaning of the original languages in your refutation.
You're kidding me.
I am able to narrate the Islamic Hadith, and they've never met a Christian that could narrate to them the way their imams narrate to them from the...
You're kidding me. When I talk to a Muslim and I let them know that I've read the Quran multiple times, that I've actually translated portions of the Quran from Arabic,
your process, and of course learning Arabic and then beginning to read the Quran in Arabic?
Well, I've only read portions of the Quran in Arabic. My Arabic is not nearly as good as I would like it to be, partly because I'll be teaching in Berlin in June, and I'm trying to get my German back at the same time I'm trying to do all the rest of this stuff. And once you get to my age, languages not so much fun as they were when you were younger. Learn your languages when you're younger. Basically, I hobble along thanks to having taught Hebrew, both Semitic languages, a lot of the same roots and things like that, so it helps out a lot.
You're kidding me.
I'm informed by a number of people who would know in academic circles and Greek believers that my Greek is pretty good. I speak at a Greek church. I'm allowed to speak in English, but I have to expound from the Greek scriptures. I'm one of the only non-Greeks they allow in because I'm one of the only people who can expound the Greek. I'm translated from English into Greek, but I have to read the Greek. And believe me, that church, if I made any mistakes, they would call me on it. No, my Greek is pretty good. I don't think yours is all quite that good. My Hebrew is also fluent. אני מדבר עברית טוב מאוד. אתה מדבר עברית? אני כן מדבר עברית. I can speak Hebrew as you can English. I also read Latin, not as well as I did in my youth, but I certainly can read things like the Vulgate. And I get this attack, some kind of demeaning. He's ignorant, he's unlearned. I don't think he's read Reformed theology. You don't get a degree from London School of Theology unless you've read Calvin's Institutes and passed an exam on it. In the British grading system, I had the equivalent of I believe, a B+. But don't tell me I'm not familiar with Reformed theology. I exactly am. And don't misrepresent what I said out of context. I never said that Calvin never spoke of the New Testament. I said the basis of Calvinism as Calvin taught it was not tulip. That came from Beza and the Remonstrance of Dort. It did. Yet you just happen to be mean. You do the same thing with Dave Hunt or with anyone else who agrees with you, setting yourself up and accusing others of creating straw men or red herrings when you cannot refute the issues they pointed out. I've said a number of times, Calvinism is essentially humanist philosophy pretending to be doctrinal theology. You also are a Reformed Baptist. You have a big problem. Calvin would have called you an Anabaptist, and you would have been arrested in Geneva. Yet you foolishly, absurdly call your ministry Radio Free Geneva. In the 16th century, you would have been arrested as a Baptist in your Free Geneva by Calvin's police, by Farel and the thugs and religious hooligans, the Christian Mutawa who ran it as a theocratic police state. They would have arrested you, Mr. White. Why don't you be honest? If you're a Baptist, Calvin wouldn't have liked you. Either would Zwingli. He might have drowned you. Either would Luther. Why don't you stop the nonsense? You set yourself up as having some kind of an intellectual superiority where you just demean others instead of dealing with the issues because you can't. You're unable to deny what I said about apartheid and the relationship with the Dutch Reformed Church. Your defense of Calvin's actions, or the witch burnings by the Calvinists in England and Massachusetts and Salem, was absurd. Simply stated, you were saying, well, the Roman Catholic Church did the same thing. That's a defense? That is a defense? The Maleficatum, this is absurd. That's not a defense. I thought the Reformation was to reform what was wrong with the church. I thought Protestantism was to put things right, not to continue the errors of Rome. Just because Rome did it, does that justify Calvin doing it? You have a warped way of thinking.